Meeting for Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 is now called to order. Andrea, would you please call the roll?
Good evening, everyone. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. It is now 5:03 p.m. Calling the roll, Ms. Simon. Here. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Schron. Mr. Schron is absent. Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Ms. Turner.
Present.
Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Council President Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Andrea, is anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, the first public comment is Reverend Jawanza Colvin.
Good afternoon. I am the Reverend Jawanza Kareem Colvin, pastor of the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church and a member of Greater Cleveland Congregations. Will all the members of Greater Cleveland Congregations please stand? I come here today along with other gathered members of GCC at a time when the three branches of government are taking the initial steps toward constructing a new jail in Cuyahoga County. Early estimates of the cost of such a facility are in the hundreds of millions of dollars for the building itself and continued millions for its annual operations. However, as meetings and planning focus on construction are taking place, a relatively little investment of time, resources, and intention have been placed in reforming the current state of practices in the county jail, which hold a significant number of people charged with nonviolent offenses in detention under adverse conditions. Over the years, commissioned studies have been made available to all three branches of the county system, which have concluded that our current practices of jail detention disproportionately affect the poor, black, and brown residents among us, with persons behind bars at risk of loss of livelihood, housing, and livelihood in addition to their loss of freedom. Our legal system is founded on the presumption of innocence. However, our current county jail detention practices find people guilty of being unable to secure an appearance or cash bond or unfit to be released on a personal one. We know, and the research shows, that there's an equally effective and more just way of ensuring county appearances while also maintaining public safety. We also know that reforming of our current system of pretrial administration of justice is the work of all three branches, including our county executive and county council. As county leaders move forward with its plan and design, phase, scope, scale, and size of this facility, let's send a clear message of what the future of this justice system in Cuyahoga County will look like. Over the next few minutes, my colleagues will take the opportunity to share with you GCC's position, the research we've gathered, the opportunity the county has, and our hope to partner with all three branches of the county government, including this council, to chart a new path forward by reducing the number of jail beds and funding pretrial services in Cuyahoga County. Thank you.
Louise McKenna.
Good evening. I'm Louise McKinney, a member of St. John African Methodist Episcopal Church in the central neighborhood of Cleveland, and I am a resident of Cleveland Heights. 61% of the county jail population is people in jail before trial. But what good purpose does jail before trial serve? It's not punishment, because they're not convicted. They're awaiting trial. It's not really for public safety, because a sizable percentage of those in jail before trial are charged with offenses that don't affect public safety. It's not to make sure that they return to court. We know that effective pretrial services result in an excellent record of showing up for court dates. People are in jail because they can't pay bail. They're poor. Others are charged with the same crime, can pay bail, and they're out. And disproportionately, people are in jail because they're black. 69% of the county jail population is black. compared to 30% of the county population. We can do better. Cleveland Municipal Court has dramatically reduced its pretrial jail population. How? It began a pretrial services system. They do public safety assessments and provide pretrial service to arrestees who come through their doors, allowing them to be diverted from jail before trial. The Cleveland City Council annually funds the municipal court's pretrial services unit and saves money by not paying for jail beds for defendants before trial. Unfortunately, the County Common Pleas Court does not see the information the municipal court uses for making pretrial release decisions and doesn't use validated public safety assessments for deciding whether to jail someone before trial. So based on what's happening now here in Cuyahoga County, GCC challenges the County Council to do the following two things. Reduce the number of jail beds in Cuyahoga County as you plan changes to the jail, and fund pretrial services for all throughout the county. We will follow up with you. We want to talk with you. Thank you.
Reverend James Cruz.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The harms of being in jail, waiting for trial.
Reverend Cruz, if you could state your name for the record, please.
Reverend Cruz from Antioch Baptist Church, forgive me for that. And I'm a member of the Greater Cleveland Congregation. The historical Antioch Baptist Church, I have to say that. A person's life can suffer irreparable harms in as little as 3 days. People who are jailed before trial have worse case outcomes and longer sentences. Those in jail before trial 3 or fewer days are less likely to be convicted and are less likely to receive a jail or prison sentence. Those in jail before more than 3 days are more likely to plead guilty in order to get out, whether or not they are actually guilty. This just puts them into the system, making a return to jail more likely. Harm can come to the individual because jail is unsafe. Folks can lose their jobs, their families, their homes, their kids. The current jail system does not meet minimal safety and other operation standards set by the state of Ohio. The situation only worsens if there are mental health, substance use, or developmental disabilities issues are present. We can't omit the ultimate harm of death and how many have died in the Justice Center. Harm comes to family when a person is removed from the family circle, depriving children of a parent, putting children at a risk of placement in the system. Housing, jobs, and finances are affected, making it more difficult to re-enter into society. The negative impact widens with the community where the person resides, ultimately being destabilized. The current jail before trial system pleads to the siphoning off of much needed funds that could go towards other social programs that can improve the overall quality of life in the county. The cost of operating a bed in 2019 per day, this is 2019, $122.64 per day per bed. Per year, $44,760 per bed per day per year. Think of the expense of a 1,600 bed jail in addition to payouts for county wrongful deaths. GCC challenges the county council to do the following two things: reduce the number of jail beds available in the Cuyahoga County as you plan to jail and change the jail, and to fund pretrial services for all throughout the county. Thank you.
Pat Dillard.
Good evening. My name is Pat Dillard, and I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland and a resident of Cleveland Heights. We have examples all around us of other cities, other counties, even states, which have implemented pretrial services to the benefit of the court and their community. One such county is Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. That's Charlotte. Their population and number of judges is similar to ours, and Mecklenburg County was faced in 2008 with the same situation that we are facing now. Their jail population was overflowing. They thought the answer was more jail beds, but the citizens did not want to spend millions of dollars for a new jail. Instead, the county set up a pretrial services program. Their staff used a validated assessment tool called the Public Safety Assessment, which evaluated which people could be safely released. And they provided support services needed to help ensure their return to court. As always, the judges had the final say in deciding whether the person should be detained for safety reasons. And with pretrial services in place, the judges had the information necessary to make their determination. The current overcrowding was not the judge's fault, it was the system. The result of these changes in the court system, they cut the pretrial jail population by more than half, from almost 2,000 people in jail pretrial in 2008 to 934 people by 2016. And they eliminated the need for a new jail. They increased public safety because people were able to keep their lives intact and keep their jobs, homes, and children, thus stabilizing the community. And they increased public safety because the people who were a true threat to public safety were identified. Based on what's happening now, GCC challenged the county council to do the following two things: reduce the number of jail beds in Cuyahoga County, and fund pretrial services for Cuyahoga County. We appreciate your concern for justice, and we look forward to following up with you.
Ross DeBello.
Hi, guys. I am Ross DeBello. Hello to everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces up here and in the crowd. Today, I'd like to comment about why using more taxes to build a new jail would be the wrong decision, not only for the good of Northeast Ohio, but for the good of all the decision makers up here personally. Spending more of our tax dollars to build outside of downtown is unwise because it's uncompassionate. It's uncompassionate because it's unwise. Spending less on the jail, no more taxes, no new facility away from transportation, investing in public schools and health, and reducing the jail population are the compassionate and wise things to do. Uncompassionate decision-making has extremely bad consequences for decision makers. Decisions that ignore that we are all one people and one community also have extremely bad downstream effects for decision makers. Now, I'm not talking about what people might view through the lens of political consequences. Everyone here is going to continue to win elections, hold titles that'll go on their tombstones, have great benefits, publicly be recognized here and there. But unfortunately, I need to make you a promise. I promise you that internally, very real negative consequences come from uncompassionate decision-making to those who have responsibility. These effects can't be avoided, and they affect our closest relationships. They affect our quality of life and our loved ones' quality of life. The children you interact with most are going to learn from your influence. When you make decisions with unconditional love, they will lead a life of decision-making with unconditional love. When you fail to decipher who's selling you on something and who and what you might be ignoring, it means that your loved ones are much more likely to lead that type of life. I know everybody up there and in this room wants the same thing. A prospering county we can be proud of, where crime drops, that people will move into, earn more income, pay more income taxes, pay more property taxes, and grow beautifully and naturally. But health and happiness are true wealth, and compassionate leadership and decision-making are amongst the most healthy things you can do, both for yourself and for your innermost circle. So it's up to you guys to choose a new and wise compassion or the same rote repetition. But please remember my promise and the fact that almost everything is learned. The circle of life is undeniable. Thank you all for your time, and I wish you and yours nothing but the best.
Elizabeth Plumley Watson.
Before you begin your public comment, let me share with everyone that cheering and jeering and any outbursts are not allowed during this public comment. So at this time, we're going to allow everyone to speak, but there will be no clapping or cheering or jeering of any type. Please continue.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Plumley Watson. I was raised in Cuyahoga County, and after 12 years living and working out of state, returned here about 6 years ago. I think Cuyahoga County is one of the best possible places in the country to make a life. I'm here because I'm worried that by investing in expanded carceral infrastructure, this metro area is digging further into practices that hurt us, especially the poorest, the sickest, and the most racially marginalized among us. Building a new jail complex, whether in a greenfield or a brownfield site, is investing in the damaging status quo at a time of great national change. I don't know any of my young professional peers, people I know this county wants to attract to invest in housing stock and tax base, who would feel better about moving here on the basis of knowing that this jail complex is the kind of thing the county prioritizes. In the past, I've heard some people say that caring for my poorest neighbors means wanting more room to incarcerate the same numbers of them, if not more, in shiny new facilities. My most passionate desire, and something worked for by others in this room for far longer than I, is to dramatically decrease the number of people who ever spend more than 3 nights in jail. I'm concerned about how many of my neighbors and your neighbors are currently being held in the county jail for nonviolent offenses. I am concerned about how many of my neighbors and your neighbors are simply there because they don't have the money or the means to raise bail. I know that violent crime is up across the country since 2020. However, I'm here specifically to talk about wanting to end incarceration for any meaningful length of time for nonviolent crimes, and especially for inability to pay bail. And I am here to say that I do not see what possible incentive there will be for all of us to work for that if we have a capacious, expensive new jail with beds waiting to be filled. I desperately want this city and county I love so much to move in the right direction of history. I oppose a new jail in my backyard or in anyone's backyard in Cuyahoga County. Thank you.
Larry Heller.
Hi, my name is Larry Heller with Nora, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you all again. Many of you have heard me many times before, and I appreciate it. I thank all of you who've contacted me individually about this issue. Jail is just one small piece of a much larger picture. And despite minor differences on how we get there, I believe everyone in this room shares some common goals, common visions. I believe we all want a safer community, and we all want improved quality of life for our residents. So how does a jail help us to get there? I believe first we have to meet 4 separate and distinct 4 primary goals before we can talk about a new jail. First, fix the system. I believe we should all work together, all the stakeholders, all public officials, jail employees, directly impacted individuals, family members, community members, work together to fix the system. For more than 100 years, we have had one of the worst jails in the country, consistently for more than 100 years. Every few decades, when a new study comes out declaring us one of the worst, we build a new building and never fix the problems. Please keep in mind, no one in the jail died because the building is too old. No one in the jail has been denied access to medical or mental health care because the building is too old. No one has been denied basic human rights or basic human dignities because the building is too old. I believe we need to fix the system. Number two would be diversion. This council authorized and our county built a wonderful diversion center. It's one of the greatest improvements in criminal justice I have ever seen, but it's not being used. I send more people than most of our law enforcement agencies, and that's not what it was intended for. I believe we need to focus on using that wonderful new facility, a wonderful resource that we have, and getting our people to use the diversion center to actually divert people from ever entering the jail, as was intended and as this council stated is a priority. Number three is population management. Like many of you, I've heard statistics saying 95% of the people in the jail need to be there for public safety. I challenge that. I've never seen evidence to support it, but we've heard in this room on prior occasions, we've heard anecdotal evidence about people who are in the jail beyond their maximum release date, beyond the release date, or beyond the maximum penalty allowed by law. We've heard numerous times stories or anecdotal reports of people held after a court has determined they pose no risk. They're being held only because they can't pay. With average pretrial detention over 100 days, costs approaching $100 a day, we choose to spend over $10,000 to hold a person simply because they can't pay $200 to get out. I'm not good at math, but to me that doesn't make sense. And the fourth thing is investing in reentry support to stop the revolving door. Thank you.
Dave Wondolowski.
Mr. County Executive, honorable members of County Council, my name is Dave Wondolowski, and I'm here today to speak on the issue of the county jail. There's no question that any decision on this issue deserves careful scrutiny. But it's time to put the decision of where to put the jail to bed. The Garfield Heights site is a smart solution and deserves this community's support. For those of you who don't know me, I am the Executive Director of the Cleveland Building and Construction Trades Council, an umbrella organization for more than 12,000 working men and women in the construction industry in Northeast Ohio. You might assume I support this site because it will provide jobs for our members. While it will do that, that's not why I support the site. You see, regardless of where it's located, our members will be put to work, which is a good thing. I support the site because it's the right place for all the reasons the county executive has articulated, and I don't need to repeat. And it's the right time to end the inhumane conditions the inmates are currently living in. There's a heavy personal toll that those conditions have levied on struggling individuals and their families. Yes, the people in the jail may have made mistakes, but this is the United States of America, where we believe in second chances and we believe in treating human beings better. These individuals are someone's father, brother, sister, coworker, cousin, neighbor, etc. They're human beings that can go on to lead productive lives, and if their health and well-being is being protected, they can return to their families and more importantly, can return to work. But a proper, humane jail doesn't make sense just for them and their families. It makes sense for all of us. Without addressing the well-being of those families who spend time there, those who spend time there, they are less likely to be rehabilitated, less likely to return to gainful employment, and less likely to live full and productive lives. They are more likely to be recidivists, substance abusers, and homeless. When inmates aren't rehabilitated, we all pay the price. Increased criminal justice costs, healthcare costs, increased emergency room visits, more strain on our public safety system. While there are some issues that certainly merit further consideration and solutions, including working with the Greater Cleveland RTA to make sure there's adequate public transportation to help keep families and inmates connected, this is the right and smart thing to do, and the time is now. Thank you for your opportunity to speak, on this important issue.
I apologize if I pronounce your name incorrectly in advance. Akshay Singh.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Akshay Singh, live in Cleveland Heights. I'm a member of Starbucks Workers United. Been a union member for the last year and a half, and we had county executive, now county executive, then candidate running, come to our shop, campaign and order a Union Strong drink, and also come down to Clevelanders for Public Transit at one point for our rallies, because we know we need more bus service, as Mr. Wondolowski just mentioned. It's funny that that would be mentioned when this would max out the sales tax for the county to pay for a jail. It wouldn't be paying for public services that we need. It wouldn't be paying for things that my members need, over 50% of whom ride transit. It wouldn't be something, and it's amazing, the audacity to have announced this on Juneteenth weekend, no less. It's truly something where I would encourage you, please don't come back to our shops, county executive. There's nothing that I have to say that hasn't been said at this point. Apart from just mentioning that this does nothing for working people here in Cuyahoga County moving forward, a proposal to tax them more and provide them services only to warehouse them and their loved ones. It's unconscionable, and I don't really have to take up another minute and a half, but please think on the decision that you're making, especially the services that you'd be precluding our county residents from actually having access to going forward. It really says a lot to say that we need a jail for our residents more than we need public services, that we need transit, we need housing, we need lead pipes replaced, we need renewable energy because we're in a climate crisis. But I'm glad that this is the priority that we're deciding to take on. Don't believe that any of this comment's really here to change your minds. I don't think that that's where the stage we're at. So, I really hope that this is something that you have trouble sleeping over as you get to approve it, because it's not something that's going to make anything better for our county residents. Thank you.
Adam Bresnahan.
Hi, my name is Adam Bresnahan. I live in Cleveland. The county executive is putting forward legislation to extend the quarter-cent sales tax in order to fund the construction of a jail. However, as candidate, Mr. Ronan and his campaign communicated that he wanted to have a vote on the extension of the sales tax. The history of his positions on this issue have recently been documented in an article for Cleveland.com written by Caitlin Durbin. For instance, in October 2021, the county executive, then candidate Chris Ronan, tweeted, "A jail proposed without public input, a sales tax hike neither vetted nor voted on, no community meetings on property tax increases. County Executive Budish needs to address all of these things as he proposes a biennial budget. No more backroom deals. There's a better way. Hashtag New Cuyahoga." Later, his campaign manager was quoted in a story by IdeaStream Public Media saying, quote, Chris Ronan supports a voter referendum to decide the sales tax extension to pay for the new jail proposal. Recently, however, Mr. Ronayne's spokesperson has said that this all just related to the site at Transport Road, and that the sales tax extension criticism only related because it was permanent, apparently, whereas the one proposed is for 40 years. This is a pretty subtle distinction, right? 40 years, for most of us here, for all intents and purposes, is permanent. I'm sorry to say that many of us will be at the end of our lives in 40 years. And the issue as to whether the sales tax has anything to do with the location is belied by Mr. Ronayne's own argument that, in which he stated, sorry, just a minute, let me find this quote. Quote, inflation is going up, people are hurting, we need to be real careful about a permanent sales tax on $1 billion spend, given the context of the climate we're in. Yeah, so for the pocketbooks of the people who are, quote, hurting, it's immaterial whether the location is at Transport Road or Garfield Heights or wherever else. These real subtle distinctions remind me of a joke from the Soviet Union. The joke goes like this. Radio Armenia is asked the question, what is politics? Radio Armenia answers, have you ever heard a mosquito fart? Politics is more subtle than that. You can't hear a mosquito fart. I don't even think mosquitoes do fart. There's no distinction between the permanent sales tax or the 40-year sales tax or the sales tax and the location. It doesn't add up. You need to retract this legislation, go back to your campaign promise, and hold a vote on the extension of the sales tax and see if people actually want it.
Evan O'Reilly.
Hi, my name's Evan O'Reilly. I'm here with the Cuyahoga County Jail Coalition, and I'm a resident of Lakewood. We all want this community to be safe and for justice to be served. Nevertheless, I'm here once again to voice opposition to the construction of a new Cuyahoga County jail until this county can prove that it is capable of addressing the numerous issues that have racked the current jail for years. I recognize that it is not the role of the council or the executive to implement the necessary changes in the courts and prosecutors' offices that could lead to a further reduction in the jail population. But this body has played an undeniable role in getting us to where we are today, with 23 reported deaths since 2018 alone, and an array of accompanying scandals, abuses, and convictions of jail staff. The decision to consolidate all of the county's municipal jails into a single facility was perhaps the most destructive action taken in our justice system in the last decade. That was a decision approved by this body for reasons of political and budgeting expediency. Well, I have no doubt that those of you who occupied these seats then regret that decision and want to make amends. Here's some practical questions this community needs answered before I'm convinced this new plan is not being pushed for the same reasons. Do the COs, care workers, judges, and attorneys who will actually need to use this building support the move to Garfield Heights? How does the county intend to engage the community in ensuring that this facility treats their neighbors and loved ones better before you raise their taxes? Why have we had a new county sheriff nearly every single year since I moved to Cleveland in the summer of 2017? How has the introduction of the diversion center gone? Is it being used to its full capacity? Does it need to be expanded? What are you intending to do about the active contract with TKC Holdings, which owns Keefe Commissary and Trinity Food Services and has consistently provided only poorly prepared and disgusting food for the jail? What effect will the active class action suit against the jail have on its policies? Has contracting medical services out to Metro Health had any measurable positive impact on the quality of care? When will programming like AA meetings that were ended during quarantine return? How does the county intend to address staff attrition and absences that drive the constant use of inhumane 23-hour lockdowns? Would the county support efforts at institutional cultural change, such as an enforceable inmate Bill of Rights or a Truth and Reconciliation Commission for current and former jail staff? How does the county account for similar issues at the Juvenile Detention Center despite their newer state-of-the-art facilities? And finally, and most importantly, What is the administration's plan to address the socioeconomic causes of crime in our county? Poverty, malnutrition, mental illness, homelessness, and decades of overall disinvestment from many neighborhoods in our county. What amount of revenue is the county willing to generate for these costs in comparison with the funding needed for a new jail? Thank you.
Sam Horn.
My name is Sam Horn. I'm a resident of Cleveland Heights. I have heard several members of this council express support for reducing the population of the jail. And I recall Mr. Ronayne during his campaign pushing for an audit of the jail's population and expressing support for expansion of the diversion center and other programs. And as you've seen and heard, not just today, but over months and even years that we've been talking about this, the community is behind this too. Reducing the population massively is both doable and the right thing to do. As some of the previous commenters have said, the vast majority or large majority of people in the jail right now are being held pre-trial. So many of them are being held based on charges related to poverty, homelessness, mental health issues, substance use issues. There are other solutions. And if we spend all this time and energy talking about another 2,000-bed jail, if we take this time, energy, money, and put it into how can we come up with a plan for social services? How can we come up with a plan for those pretrial services that we've been talking about? That can be very effective. And we won't need another jail like this. We'll strengthen our communities. We'll make our communities safer. And we'll send people home. Thank you.
Lou Zucker.
All right, Kareem, I'm gonna let you talk.
Good evening, Council. This is in regards to...
Sir, if you could please...
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Kareem Hinton. I'm with the Jail Coalition. I'm here to talk about what if you try to move to Garfield. Garfield has no housing or homeless support services except for 18 to 24-year-old males aged out of foster care. There is limited and insufficient public transportation for persons being released, leaving them to roam the area, walk in dangerous and high traffic areas like 480 and Granger Road, which has no sidewalks and poor lighting. Limited transportation for families of those incarcerated and any who have business in the jail facility, it is also dangerous for them. You will have increased calls to law enforcement for people walking through the neighborhoods. Lack of the city's preparedness to address the influx of citizens with mental health concerns is going to be an issue. Now, what does that mean for Cleveland? Cleveland will be forced to build its own jail, as Cleveland police officers will not be expected to continue to transport citizens taken into custody to another city. Cleveland will have to build a new courthouse due to the county court's inevitable move to Garfield, which people are not talking about at this present time. What does it mean for the courts? The courts will not have ready access to detainees except by video and must be forced to transport them if those detainees exercise their rights to appear in court in person. An already understaffed jail workforce will be transporting inmates, likely falling short of the requirements, and these things will cause not only backlogs, but again, the need to have to build the courts by the jail. Now, what does it mean for attorneys? Attorneys who see clients between court appearances will cease this efficient practice once prisoners are no longer housed under the same roof near the same courthouse. This further strains attorneys and affects defendants' effective representation of counsel. Problems with the separation of the jail from the courthouse will force relocation of the courthouse to Garfield, which elected officials are not discussing, and will increase the price tag to closer to $2 billion. What does it mean for the county? Along with a whopping over $750 million, well, I said that part, but why downtown Cleveland is the best location? Multiple bus lines and rapids effectively transporting citizens and defendants to the courts and from the jail. The numerous service providers located downtown who provide housing, meals, mental health, substance use, referral services, and legal assistance. What is the solution? Refurbish and redesign the current county jail. Now, thank you.
Patterson Gauntner.
Hello, I'm Patterson Gauntner. I'm a resident of Cleveland. Good evening, County Council members. Good evening, County Executive. I appreciate you having us all here, and I really hope that you all are listening to the numerous public comments you've heard tonight. I'm here as well because I'm concerned about the enormous amount of money required to build a new jail and what it says about our values. A sales tax is a regressive tax on the poor, and new jail capacity is a first step toward caging more human beings. There's an opportunity cost for the money that we would spend on this new jail. For the amount of money required to build a new jail and the interest on those county bonds, we could do so many other worthy things. We could cover the cost of public supportive housing for all homeless people. Would you personally rather end homelessness or build a new jail? We could cover the meal gap for all hungry families in the county. Would you personally rather end hunger or build a new jail? We could make the RTA completely free, covering the portion of the budget that's funded by fares. And we could also expand the budget for filling potholes by 300%. Would you rather have a better transportation system, or would you rather build a new jail? We could give every single person in the county a check for $800. Or we could give each person who's living under the federal poverty line a check for $4,500. Can you imagine how people could use that money to pay down their debts, go back to school, or start a business? Would you personally rather end poverty, or would you rather build a new jail? This is about our values as a county, and this is about your legacy as our leaders. Thank you.
Matthew Ahn.
How's it going, everybody? Matthew Ahn, District 7 resident. I wasn't planning on speaking today. I don't have remarks prepared. Y'all have heard from me already 2 weeks ago. I just want to give a little bit of context for some of the remarks I had last week in context with everybody else here. And I'll step aside because there are other folks on the list you need to hear from. But aside from the moral sort of considerations of this, right, the more humane jail we learned last year will still only give each inmate approximately 1.5 parking spaces worth of space. And aside from the policy considerations, where somebody who has no felony record, who is in jail for 4 days, sees their recidivism rate increase 47%. Right? I want to go back to the logistics, which I talked about last week. I mentioned to you that Brooklyn and Manhattan in New York closed on-site jails in 2021. And immediately after that, the citywide on-time rate for detained defendants went down 23%. Only 2 out of 5 boroughs closed their on-site jails, and this happened. Right? We have stories out there of people who are late 3 or 4 times to bond modification hearings where they know they're going to get out, and they have to reschedule for another month down the road. And they are held in for months and months more than they need to be. I've been speaking with various folks who work in the Justice Center. The best estimate I can get is that 10 to 15 inmates are required to be produced for each judge every day. We have 34 judges. You do the math. That means that from Garfield Heights, we'd have to transport 500 inmates every single workday. in order to keep the court running the way it is. These are sort of costs that will swallow the cost of the jail quickly, right, if we have this jail in Garfield Heights. These are the kinds of things that will cost the residents of this county in the long term, not just, right, sort of the cost of maxing out the sales tax, not just the cost of holding people in longer and resulting in more recidivism. These kinds of costs add up. So with that, one more note on the statistics from last week. I mentioned that the jail population in New York City was 5,700. That's about 3 times what the jail population is here, despite the fact that New York City has a population that is 7 times as high as Cuyahoga County, right? And so if this is sort of the system that, that New York is working under, right? And they have 400 vehicles to transport these folks. What are we going to need, right? And that's the question I want to ask. Is this cost worth it? Especially, again, as some folks have noted, when there seem to only be a couple of intransigent folks with power in the county who can fix things. Thank you.
Samaria Rice.
Good evening, everybody. Council, County Council, and Executive County Council. I'm not happy right now,
Ms.
just to
Rice?
let y'all know.
If
Yes?
you could state your name for the
Oh, I'm
record.
sorry, I'm Samaria Rice, founder and CEO of the Tamir Rice Foundation. A lot of y'all know me and, you know, and know me and everything, but I'm just not happy today because I've been hearing a lot going on today, okay, about the money, about how the residents is not happy about the jail trying to be built in Garfield, and how, you know, there's no programs for the jail and things like that. I just think that a couple things here. If we have to have a new jail, it definitely shouldn't be on the east side of Cleveland. And I'm gonna tell you why. The east side of Cleveland is very oppressed already. So to put a jail over there, it's gonna just not make it no good for none of us. If it has to be a jail made, maybe you should think about putting it on the west side somewhere. And maybe some of the people on the west side will get more involved in what's going on with these judges, and maybe give more suggestions on what some of the punishments should be for some of the inmates, and maybe advocate for programs and solutions for the inmates that's coming out, and support for them that's coming out. Because they don't want that in their neighborhood. Why y'all think we want it in ours? I'm not here often. I'm in and out of Cleveland, but each and every time it don't seem like it's getting better. And again, some of y'all been in these seats for a while, and I done seen the same faces. I need for you all to advocate for it not to be a jail, or if it's gonna be a jail, put it on the west side of Cleveland, where they have more than enough space, possibly more than enough people to help with resources, and maybe help with some of the programs. Create a bus system. Use some of that money to create a bus system to make it safe. It's just a lot of broken promises, and we're just quite sick of it. And it's not a threat to anybody. The citizens here today is saying that they don't want it, and it's not programs. So I don't understand why y'all not honoring the citizens that voted y'all in. I can't understand that. It's not about y'all, it's about the community. And that money is for the community and what the citizens want. So I don't understand. So I'm just hoping that you all leave here today and rethink this real clearly, because I know how this kind of works. This is politics, okay? And we all are not dumb to what's going on and things like that when it comes to this money that's coming in the community and not being used for the community. All right, thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
All right, thank you, Andrea. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to excuse Council Member Jack Strawn.
So moved. Second, Conwell.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, we will entertain a motion to approve our minutes from the June 6th Committee of the Whole meeting and the June 6th regular meeting.
So moved.
Second, Simon.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Just want to take a moment to, again, just reflect. We had an opportunity to commemorate Juneteenth, our second time as a national holiday. It's something we've all, many of us have known about Juneteenth growing up and learning about it, but now it's an opportunity for the entire nation to understand the importance of Juneteenth, of, again, those last of the individuals who were enslaved and freed in 1863, but not finally getting the final liberation in Galveston, Texas by the Union armies in 1865. It's an important day. I had an opportunity to commemorate it at the installation of the African American Cultural Arts Garden. I was accompanied by the county executive and council members as well, Meredith Turner and others, and it was a very very important moment for many of us who have driven down MLK and seen the many gardens. And I can just say over the years, I said I'd always known there was an African American garden, but I couldn't see it. There was no signage. Nothing had yet been developed, and so I didn't know where it was. But then in recent years, the signage was placed, and it is being built right now. That garden is being developed. I shared with them yesterday, we've always been raised and taught in school about America's a melting pot, and that we're all a part of a melting pot. But I always thought about that. I said, I believe in the concept of being one, but who really likes the idea of everything that you are melted down and it's gone and now you're all one? One is important, but do you have to lose everything to be one? And I always said in my mind, it would be great if it was more like a pot of stew or chicken pot pie, all the variety of vegetables, everything that's in there. It's still, you're still intact, but you're all part of one that's palatable and palatable for all. And I think I like that imagery a lot better. And with that cultural garden, we now have the African American community represented along MLK on that long winding road from 105 to again to the lake, and a chance to celebrate all cultures that make up America and that are one. And so it was a very important day for many of us, and we'll look forward to many years of again continuing to celebrate this moment. And it was an honor to again stand there with our county executive, Councilwoman Meredith Turner. And again, I look forward in the years to come to continue this celebration. So with that, I will turn it over to our county executive for his messages.
Thank you, Council President, members of council. It was good to be with you yesterday, Council President. I'll be brief. I wanted to just say thank you to everybody that provided educational public comment today. Today's day to just hear you and listen, and I am appreciative of you. I wanted to say to the Greater Cleveland congregation, thank you for taking the time to meet with me in the last couple of weeks. Pastor Colvin, you and the group that was here, I appreciate all of you being here 2 weeks ago. You'll have more time to hear from me on some of the subjects that they brought up, but I do want to just reference two. I think the pretrial services is something we as a body together need to focus on and hear you. And the other is to continue to look at best practices, as you referenced Mecklenburg County today, and as earlier today I was on the phone with some members of Franklin County, and just want to continue to learn, and I appreciate you and being here today. At this point, it's a difficult transition, but I just wanted to say thank you to my chief of staff as he moves to be with family and a new opportunity. He's hiding behind the computer, but Eric Wobser, I appreciate your significant leadership in our transition in the first months of this administration. You've been invaluable. I will say on a personal note, I'm glad I'm not going to have to see that Michigan mug at every meeting here at the University of Michigan. I know he brought it just for effect today, but thank you seriously for your for what you've done. And also want to look over to Greg Huth and say continued thanks. I know you're staying with us, but in a different role here in the same department. And I just want to say thanks to you and your leadership in our administration. Thank you for the indulgence to do that, Council President. And finally, just want to say that this is a week which we remember, and I think as we move forward to more of a river that returns, but June 22nd is a day that we remember as the day that the river last burned on the 13th fire. And I'm always proud to say I knew Mayor Stokes, Carl Stokes, and he stood up and said no more. And I think challenged with his brother, Louis Stokes, Congressman Stokes, our nation to think differently about its waterways. And they always, I think, should be better credited for being at the advent of the Clean Water Act and really what brought in the EPA. And now as that river burned and is now returning, thankfully, we'll continue to celebrate that with River Rally Week. It's also Cleveland History Days beginning on Friday for 10 days here in Cleveland. And as a part of that, we're going to open up the Veterans Memorial Detroit Superior Bridge on the 23rd in the evening for the public to see out to Cleveland in all of its different directions, but particularly embrace that river. We're looking at imagining a new public space that bridges our city east and west, and invite you out on the Friday evening to be with our residents. I want to say advance thanks if I don't get to thank them. We're grateful for Stella Maris. They're providing food for the first 300 who can grab a dinner on Friday night, and we look forward to neighbors all around sitting across the bridge and musing its future. And also come back on the 24th and give us your input, open all day on the Veterans Memorial Bridge from 10 to 6. Finally, just want to say thanks to our workers in the Public Works Department. They've been working tirelessly to get it ready, and I appreciate the labor that's gone into that. Thank you, Council President, members of Council. Please join us this weekend.
Council President,
Yes.
I would like the record to reflect that Councilmember Stevens is in attendance.
At this time, we're going to go to item, do you want to take this item out of order? Consideration of resolutions for third reading adoption. And Madam Clerk, if you would read the item into the record.
Resolution 2023-0146, confirming the appointment of Natasha M. Petricola upon her taking the oath of office as Director of the Division of Senior and Adult Services in the Department of Health and Human Services. Can we have a motion?
Motion. I will make the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Conwell.
Moved by myself, seconded by Conwell. No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Councilman, at this time, County Executive Ronayne will swear in Ms. Pietrocola and also administer the oath of office to Richard D. Maniloff, whose appointment as Cuyahoga County Director of Law was previously adopted at the May 23rd council meeting.
All right, excellent.
Director, congratulations, and maybe you would want to introduce members of your family.
Thank you. I have with me tonight my husband, Nick Petricola, my son, Nicholas, who's 12, and my other son, Noah, who is going to be 8 in July.
All right, welcome. And if you would you like one of your family members to hold the Bible? Okay. And you would raise your right hand and left hand on the Bible. Are you ready? I'm ready. All right. If you will, repeat after me. I, Natasha Petricola, do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
uphold,
uphold,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and
and
the Charter
the Charter
and laws
and laws
of the County
of the County
of Cuyahoga, Ohio,
of Cuyahoga, Ohio,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
diligently,
diligently,
and impartially
and impartially
perform
perform
and discharge
and discharge
all of the powers
all of the powers
and duties
and duties
incumbent
incumbent
upon me
upon me
as Director
as Director,
of Senior, and you finish.
the Director of the Division of Senior and Adult Services.
There was a typo here with the Director of Law being in here. That's why. So, and to continue,
I'm sorry.
in and
And
for
for
the County
the County
of Cuyahoga
of Cuyahoga
and
and
the State of Ohio,
the State of Ohio,
according
according
to the best
to the best
of my ability
of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Natasha, Director Petricolo. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you to the family for supporting Mom. You want to say anything?
No, just, I'm looking forward to serving the residents of Cuyahoga County officially.
Right.
Congratulations again. Thank you, Council President.
Oh, you're welcome. And at this time, we're going to have
County Executive Ronayne.
Richard Maniloff come forward, and we will swear him in as well.
I'm making sure this one doesn't say Senior and Adult Services for you. All right. Director of Law. Would you like, I have, if you'd like. Hello, Molly. Okay. Left hand on the Bible, right hand up. Are you ready? I, Richard D. Maniloff,
Richard D. Maniloff,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
uphold,
uphold,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United
of the
States,
United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and
and
the Charter
the Charter
and laws
and laws
of the County
of the County
of Cuyahoga,
of Cuyahoga,
Ohio, that I will
that I will
faithfully,
faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
diligently,
diligently,
and impartially
impartially
perform
perform
and discharge
and discharge
all of the powers
all of the powers
and duties
and duties
incumbent
incumbent
upon me
upon me
as Director
as Director
of Law
of Law
in
in
and for
and for
the County
the County
of Cuyahoga
of Cuyahoga
and State of Ohio,
and State of Ohio,
according
according
to the best
to the best
of my ability
my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Director.
All right.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you.
Thank you all. And I, too, look forward to serving the residents of Cuyahoga County. And this is my wife, Molly, by the way.
All right, we look forward to working with you. All right. All right. Chris, I like the way you read those swearing in. You give them a little bit, just in time nobody gets to stumble. All right. At this time, legislation introduced by council, consideration of resolutions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2023-0164, awarding a total sum not to exceed $200,000 to Case Western Reserve University for the Wade Park Community Engagement Center project from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
All right, this item will be referred to the Community Development Committee.
Resolution 2023-0165, awarding a total sum not to exceed $150,000 to the West Side Catholic Center for the Resource Center and Housing Initiative from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2023-0166, awarding a total sum not to exceed $106,000 to Merrick House for the Youth Development and Leadership Program from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2023-0167, awarding a total sum not to exceed $49,000 to Merrick House for capital improvements to the Merrick House Community Center from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2023-0168, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the Near West Side Multi-Service Corporation, doing business as May Dugan Center, for the purpose of expanding and upgrading the May Dugan Center facility from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2023-0169, awarding a total sum not to exceed $75,000 to the Catholic Charities Job and Career Training Center for the Workforce Development Career Pathways Project from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2023-0170, awarding a total sum not to exceed $75,000 to Front Steps Housing and Services for the electronic health record to support housing stability and behavioral health services to prevent homelessness program from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2023-0171, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland for the Community Recovery from COVID-19 one-time capital investment for legal aid project from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2023-0172, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the West Side Community House for the West Side Community House 2023 Strategic Plan from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Community Development Committee.
Resolution 2023-0173, awarding a total sum not to exceed $25,000 to the Olivet Housing and Community Development Corporation for the Nexus Initiative and Workforce Development Training and Education from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2023-0174, awarding a total sum not to exceed $20,000 to the Community of Hope for the Hope Program from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2023-0175, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the St. Clair Superior Development Corporation for the St. Clair Superior Wayfinding Plan and Sign Design Program from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Community Development Committee.
Resolution 2023-0176, awarding a total sum not to exceed $30,000 to the Building and Leveraging Opportunities Foundation for Project Fresh Start, empowering families through home ownership from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Community Development Committee. Committee report in consideration of a resolution of council for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0153, supporting an application for funding under the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program, available through the Ohio Public Works Commission on behalf of West Creek Conservancy for the conservation of ecologically significant areas in the Watershed Divide Conservation Initiative in the city of Broadview Heights and the city of Brecksville.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. Members of council, this matter was heard in committee, the Environment Committee last week, and this is an annual resolution that we usually support, but what's different this time is that the state moved up its schedule. So there's only one applicant because none of the other applications could come in on time. But this is significant. So I ask for your support and hope that we're successful in getting this from the state.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions of council for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2023-0127, awarding a total sum not to exceed $15,000 to the Friendly Inn Settlement, Inc. for the Friendly Inn signage project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And this is an opportunity for the Friendly Inn to have their signage improved. The Friendly Inn is just a critical institution in the community, and they serve some of the most at-risk residents across this county. So an opportunity to, again, help, again, improve their signage is very important. So then I ask for my colleagues' support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I have my name added, Mr.
And
President?
let's add Councilwoman Conwell's name.
Okay. Resolution 2023-0141, awarding a total sum not to exceed $150,000 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the purpose of upgrading and repairing elevators in the Brooklyn Heights Municipal Building and Community Center from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Again, this is an opportunity to, help a city with an elevator, and it's a safety issue. There's nothing more important than that, to, again, repair an elevator. So with that, again, I ask for my colleagues' support, unless Councilman Tuma has anything to add.
No, I have nothing to add, just that they came before the Public Works Committee and discussed this thoroughly, and it's very important to their community to be able to have this elevator for safety purposes, and so I would support this and ask my colleagues to support it as well.
Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0142, awarding a total sum not to exceed $45,000 to the Crew Foundation for the Ginn Academy Summer Filming Cohort from the District 8. That's an amendment to add District 8, District 9, and also an amendment to add District 10, ARPA Community Grant Funds.
Move to adopt?
Absolutely. This is a project which came to our attention, and it needed collaborative support from Councilwoman Turner and from the council president. It is located in my district, but I'm so glad of the work that they do to encourage young people to find alternative ways to express themselves, engage themselves, and develop better futures so that they don't end up in the negative cycle. They use education to empower themselves. And so we're each giving a little bit to make the world a better place, and starting with Ginn Academy.
And if I may add that I was elated when Sheila Wright approached me with this opportunity. I know we have had the steel industry for many years. We have the medical industry. This is an opportunity to try to build up another industry in our town. And so if approved, this program would train and develop a pipeline of students from Ginn Academy that will feed into the Cleveland State's Film School. This is a growing industry and presents an opportunity again for our region to be at the forefront of film production. I was impressed by her presentation and her vision for the future of filmmaking and other related careers. And I'm so grateful that Council President and Vice President Stevens and Jones have joined in this endeavor, and I ask for your support.
And I will simply add, again, as my colleagues who have led the charge on this, it's not in my district, but I felt it was a critical issue to support. We all know the name Ted Ginn, Ted Ginn Academy. He's well known for the work he has done with his children in his high school, and many those who have gone on to play in the professional sports, whether the NFL or other major sports. But at the heart of what he has done is transforming the lives of children through his mentorship of our children. And this is another piece that just helps support what he is doing in this area, and again, in the terms of exposing them, maybe not to the NFL, but to films and other things. So his work is critical, and I couldn't be happier in support of what he's doing. So with that, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. This resolution is adopted. Legislation introduced by executive. Consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Again, can I have a motion to suspend rules 9D and 12A?
President, I move to suspend those rules.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0177, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2023 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations, appropriation transfers, and cash transfers.
Move to adopt. Mr. President, my colleagues, this is the regular fiscal agenda of budget amendments. The answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. Most items are routine, primarily appropriations and closeouts of grants. Two items are notable. First, there is an appropriation of $9,879,339 in home ARPA funds to provide additional support for increasing housing stability in Cuyahoga County. And second, there is a series of 18 cash transfers totaling $101,719,000 for regular appropriated services provided by the various HHS departments and agencies. These are transfers from the Health and Human Services levy funds. I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2023-0178, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Tax Incentive Review Council for the term January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. The following reappointments are Gregory Huth, Susan Infeld, and Sarah Parks Jackson.
This item will be referred to the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee.
Resolution 2023-0179, confirming the county executive's appointment of Harold A. Pretel upon his taking the oath of office as sheriff of Cuyahoga County for the remainder of the unexpired four-year term ending December 31st, 2024.
This item will be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Resolution 2023-0180, confirming the county executive's appointment of Kelly Lynn Woodward upon her taking the oath of office as Director of Communications.
This item will be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Resolution 2023-0181, approving a cooperative agreement with the City of Cleveland and a to-be-formed nonprofit corporation to be known as the North Coast Development Corporation to facilitate development and redevelopment projects on the City of Cleveland lakefront.
This item will be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Resolution 2023-0182, authorizing a real estate purchase agreement with Craig Realty Group, Cleveland LLC, or its designated, or its designed, it should be designated, in the amount not to exceed $38,703,000 for the purchase of all or a portion of certain parcels of real property in Garfield Heights, Ohio, with access to Granger Road totaling approximately 72.1 acres, now known as permanent parcel numbers 54214-002 and 004, 5415002, and 5422022.
This item will be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Resolution 2023-0183, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the replacement of Sheldon Road Bridge, number 01.61, over Lake Abrams Ditch in the cities of Brook Park and Middleburg Heights, at a total estimated project cost of $8,700,000, and finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's costs of said improvement.
This item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Mr. President,
Councilman,
may I please have my name added as a sponsor?
let's add Councilman Miller's name.
Resolution 2023-0184, making an award on requisition 12387 to Fabrizi Recycling, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $3,257,750 for the 2023 sewer repair program for various county sewer districts, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 2 years.
This item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0156, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2023 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations, appropriation transfers, and cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution is a special fiscal agenda to appropriate $3,169,000 to the Board of Elections to pay for the cost of the August 8th special election. We are having a special election on that date regarding a proposed state constitutional amendment, despite the fact that the legislature passed an ordinance prohibiting August special elections except for fiscal municipal emergencies. The Senate-passed version of the state budget provides $15 million to reimburse counties for the cost of this election, which would provide Cuyahoga County a reimbursement of only about $1.5 million. However, Secretary of State Frank LaRose stated recently that counties will be made whole for their full costs. Let's hope that that is the case. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All those in favor, say aye.
Mr.
Aye.
President, I just want to say something. You know, I reluctantly am going to assent to this because we don't have a choice, because we would leave our Board of Elections in a lurch if we don't vote this in. But this is under protest that we have to outsource all this money for something that shouldn't be happening. So those are my comments. It's disturbing, but I have a yes vote, Madam Clerk.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0157, making an award on requisition 12375 to Shermer Construction LLC in the amount not to exceed $8,281,397.65 for a rehabilitation of Warrensville Center Road, bridge numbers 05.92 East and 05.92 West over Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority in the city of Shaker Heights.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, Ms. Nicole English was before the Public Works Committee on June 14, 2023. This project will actually have two separate bridges on the Warrensville Center Road, and the GCRTA Green Line runs underneath these bridges, and traffic will be maintained through the project's construction period. This is funding, RFP was issued in April. And the two bids received, this was the lowest bid with a DBE goal of 10%. And the funding is 42% federal funding, 18% Ohio Public Works Commission funds, 40% county motor vehicle, $5 license tax fund. And it's a very complicated arrangement here with the bridges, so I would ask for my colleagues' support on this so we can continue to maintain safe bridges in Cuyahoga County. Thank you.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0159, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Kaiser Group LLC, doing business as Dynamic Workforce Solutions for Title I Business Services in connection with the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for the period January 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,650,960.44.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This matter was heard in the Education Environment Committee last Wednesday. Deputy Director of the Workforce Board, Laura Chalker, came in and explained to us the purpose of this contract, and it's all federally funded, as well as the next item. Both of these are no county money. But the contract, which is before us, the Kaiser Group, is performing exceedingly well in terms of connecting potential and workers to businesses. Things have improved considerably. And, you know, this workforce area has always been nebulous, but we're really trying to drill down on numbers. And we see a lot of advancement with this contract. So I ask for your support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0160, authorizing an amendment to a contract with United Labor Agency Incorporated for operation of the Workforce Service Center, job seekers and employer services and management of the on-the-job training program, and the Federal Reemployment Services and Reemployment Services Eligibility Assessment Program for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $4,138,362.21.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This matter was before us in committee, and as for your support, it's all federally funded, as previously stated.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2023-0161, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for traditional residential treatment services for the period February 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2023, to revise the per diem rates effective February 1st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,100,000 for the various providers A through J as listed on the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, our friends from Juvenile Court came to the Safety Committee, and this is an extension of the necessary tools that they need to do their job and to provide safe housing for youth within our custody, and the recommendation is adoption.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Council President, if you could turn to page 11. Resolution 2023-0162, authorizing a master revenue generating agreement with various county coroners' offices in the anticipated amount of $6,444,000 for performance of autopsies and other scientific services by the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2028, items A through N as listed on the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, the medical examiner came before the committee, and these are agreements with the various counties throughout Northeast Ohio where he provides services and we provide services. I was surprised at the amount. I didn't realize how many that we had expended to, but these generate funds for us and provide services for counties that cannot do what we have the ability to do. There will be one more county coming as an addendum, but the recommendation is adoption.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0163, authorizing a revenue-generating agreement with Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities in the amount not to exceed $501,362.93 for reimbursement of staffing services for the DD Medicaid Waiver Program for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second.
To my colleagues, this is a revenue-generating agreement that was heard in the Health and Human Services Committee on June 14th with the Board of Developmental Disabilities to provide and employ a sufficient number of CJFS-trained workers who assign caseloads will exclusively consist of Cuyahoga Board of Developmental Disability consumers enrolled or seeking enrollment on a DD Medicaid waiver, or Cuyahoga County developmental disability consumers who are residents or potential residents of long-term care Medicaid facilities. So this is a revenue generating where we receive funds back for the work that we provide for them. So I ask for my colleagues' support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2023-0146 was already considered and adopted, so we're moving on to Resolution 2023-0150, authorizing an agreement with the City of Lakewood in the amount not to exceed $523,506 for home-funded activities for the period May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2025.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Who seconded, please?
Sweeney.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is a program that helps facilitate activities in Lakewood that can only be done with the use of home funds, and so I recommend that this move forward.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, could you add
Yes,
my name?
let's add Councilman Sweeney's name. All right, consideration of ordinances for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance 2023-0012, amending and codifying Board of County Commissioners Resolution Number 2007-073101, dated July 26, 2007, and enacting new Chapter 727, Section 727.01 of the Cuyahoga County Code to change the period of time during which the county sales tax shall be levied at the aggregate rate of 1 1/4%.
This item will be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Ordinance 2023-0013, amending and codifying Board of County Commissioners Resolution Number 2007-073102, dated July 26, 2007, and enacting Chapter 727, Section 727.02 of the Cuyahoga County Code to change the period of time during which the county use tax shall be levied at the aggregate rate of 1 1/4%.
This item will also be referred to the Committee of the Whole. At this time, we will entertain our miscellaneous committee reports.
Mr. President?
Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. The sales tax legislation, as you just heard, will be heard in Committee of the Whole, and there was no other finance and budget legislation introduced. Therefore, Finance and Budget Committee will not meet prior to the next council meeting. Thank you.
Mr. President, we have two pieces of legislation before Public Works. I'm going to see the necessity as to how soon those have to be moved along. And if it's not something that we need to do, we'll hold off on a meeting. But if it's something that is essential, then we'll have our regularly scheduled meeting next Wednesday morning. Thank you.
Any other reports?
Yes, Health and Human Services will be Wednesday on June 28th, 1 p.m. We will hear the items presented this evening and a presentation from Cleveland Clinic.
All right.
Mr. President, I don't think I have anything pending. We'll let you know about a meeting, but at this time, I don't think we're meeting. Human Resources, Appointments, and Equity.
Okay.
You do have one item that was referred, just as an FYI.
Just the one. We'll meet.
Mr. Chairman, we have a series of pieces of legislation that have been referred to us, so it appears we need to have a meeting on June 26th.
10 a.m.
Education, sorry.
All right.
Education Environment, Wednesday, the 28th at 3, to hear the items that were referred today.
All right. Any other committee meetings?
Council member, you might want to mention that we have a CRAS meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m.
For public information, the subcommittee of the Community Development Committee, which is focused on reinvestment in Cuyahoga County, will meet Wednesday, June 21st at 1 p.m. in the meeting room adjacent to council chambers.
All right. If there are no further committee reports, is there any miscellaneous business? If not, if nothing else holds our attention, our meeting is now adjourned.